Hey everyone, it's Jo again. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm so pissed off. I have recorded this video. This will be the third time because my phone keeps saying you have to free up space. And yet when I freaked the goddamn space, it's still not letting me save the goddamn video. Lord have mercy. But anyways, I'm gonna talk about social anxiety, and perhaps I'm just gonna not talk as much as I did before. Well, basically, I have been dealing with social anxiety for a while. I say now it has gotten a little better. But I remember when I was just 5 years old, I remember feeling like, why are people looking at me? Like having a big fear of being seen, being put in the spotlight. Oftentimes, like if I see people walking towards me, I'll kind of like not want to make eye contact. Like I want to kind of put my head down because I don't, not really put my head down, but it's like, don't look at me type of stuff. And I would just feel really nervous. All of that happened to me when I was 5 years old. Now, I still have it, but it's to like a lesser degree. It's not as bad. It's really not affecting my life as much. But I feel like I now understand as to why I had not developed social anxiety. When I was a teenager, it was just my social anxiety was really, really bad. I also got kind of bullied in school and stuff like that. So I hated and dreaded going to school. Of course, my parents never noticed that because they never pay attention. Like I've said it before, I spent a lot of time by myself. I had no one to talk to. There was no one literally in my corner, not even my own sibling. We didn't get along. She was kind of mean to me when I was a child. She was closer to a cousin of ours that is the same age as she is. But I feel like the issues of me having anxiety, it literally stemmed from the womb when I was in my mom's stomach, because I heard stories even from my sibling and my mother that she was like a nervous wreck when she was pregnant of me. So I think that kind of spilled over because as a child you feel your mom's emotions from the womb. But anyways, I then came up with the conclusion, because when I was 5, I don't remember having feeling or remember like seeing any issues with my parents. I think like I started to notice the issues with my parents when I was 8 years old. That's when I realized there's something wrong here. I don't know the name, I don't have the information, but there's something wrong in my family dynamic. And I noticed that I would get attention. The few times I got attention was to be criticized, was to be spoken down to, was basically to be compared to my sibling or compared to somebody else's kid who my parents was like, well, can you be like so and so? So basically, whenever I receive attention, it came from a negative place, it came from a negative space, right? So then you put the connotation that if you get attention, then something negative. And so that's why I think I kind of developed social anxiety, because of you have a fear of being seen, and then I put here fear of being humiliated, fear of being misunderstood, fear of judgment, because that's what I received growing up in this kind of dysfunctional dynamic. Because the few times that I managed to express emotions, right? The few times that I managed to express emotions, it was met with you're being dramatic, you're too sensitive, you're too emotional, or they would laugh. And then I was also called crazy. So it makes sense as to why you feel that when you're around the people, because you feel like they're going to do to you exactly what your family did to you growing up. So you become hyper vigilant, and that's stuck in the back of your head. And also another thing that you have to notice is that when you're heavily criticized as a child, that becomes your inner voice. If you grew up in a home with well-adjusted people, and they tell you that you're beautiful, they tell you that you're lovely, they tell you that it's okay to express yourself, that your feelings are okay. They validate your emotions, whether you're angry, sad, happy, excited. They validate those emotions. So you grow up and you validate your own emotions because you have a stable foundation. You were built to have love for yourself. You were built to have healthy and high self-esteem. So, you as an adult, you just naturally have that. You don't have to even think twice because it's on autopilot. So when your views and you are verbally like views, like called stupid, dumb, they call you fat, they criticize everything about you, then that becomes your inner voice and becomes automatic. You don't even notice it that you're doing it. You think it's your own voice, but it's actually the voice of your mom, your parents, or anyone else that had abused you. So yeah, I also put here fear of being vulnerable, having intimacy, and remember that the word intimacy is into me. So if you don't know who you are, if you don't love yourself, if you don't feel comfortable with who you are, if you feel like who you are is wrong, then obviously you're not going to be able to connect with other people. I have issues connecting with others because I just don't want to be vulnerable. I have severe trust issues. I feel like I can't even trust myself sometimes to make the right decision. Fear of being like awkward, thinking also that I had to fill in conversations, like when there's like a silence, you're talking to somebody and there's like a silence, feel like the desperate need, like I don't want it to be awkward, I don't want it to be quiet, so let me fill in that conversation. And yeah, that's happened to me. But I'm gonna cut the video right here because I don't want it to go to waste, and I'm gonna make a part 2 to it.